This isn't going to be a long video, but I think it's an important one because I'm going to save you a lot of heartache by teaching you two very important lessons. The first is related to using big slabs of wood. It's very popular nowadays to make tables and benches and countertops with big tree slices. Some folks just attach metal legs to the bottom and call it good. But many of these projects turn into absolute disasters a few years or even just a few months down the road. Here's the problem. In the old days, trees were huge. Some were hundreds of years old with trunks several feet across and nice tight growth rings. You could get enormously wide boards from them. But now our trees are typically much smaller. If you want a really wide board, you may have to take a slice from right down the center of the log where it's at its widest point. When you do, you end up with a blessing and a curse. The blessing is the outer rings that run perpendicular to the face of the board. This is called quarter-sawn grain and it's prized for its stability. Those parts of the board will stay relatively flat. The curse is the few small rings in the center of the board and that dark pith right in the middle. That's the worst part of the tree and it can ruin your plans for a nice flat top. As they dry, logs do not shrink evenly. The fibers shrink tangentially or parallel to the rings at twice the rate as they do radially across the rings. Put simply, those circular tree rings will try to flatten out. The tighter the curve, the more that the wood is going to cup as it tries to flatten. And nowhere do the rings curve tighter than at the center of the tree. So while the outer portions of the slab may stay flat, it's going to pretty much fold right down that pith. And that's not the only problem you're likely to have. The pith and those inner rings are the adolescent part of the tree. That's when it was going through its young and awkward stage. The fibers are all soft and squishy and it had twigs sticking out everywhere that later became those little knots. That unstable wood is going to split and crack and move and warp. This isn't just a problem as a green log dries. As long as your board contains the pith and those smaller inner rings, you're going to have continuous problems as the moisture in the air changes and the wood continues to swell and shrink over many years. There's only one thing to do about it. You have to cut your beautiful wide slab and take that center section out. This can be hard to do. Take this countertop for example. You can tell one of these boards was from the center of the tree because you can see the pith near the surface. The other one was from right next to it. And even though it doesn't have a pith, you can still see some of those little inner rings on the end grain and a row of little knots from those early twigs down the center. We really wanted to just edge glue these two boards together to make a countertop. The book-matched grain made it look almost like a single slab. But we knew those inner rings would cause problems down the road. The counter would likely cup or develop cracks and checks down the middle. So we ripped the two boards into 4, removing about an inch-wide strip from the center of each one. We didn't get all the knots, but we did eliminate the smallest, tightly curved rings. Now, when they're glued back together, the slab will be much, much more likely to remain nice and flat. This lesson doesn't just apply to big slabs of wood. If you can reasonably predict how any wood will move, you can select the right boards for the right places and your whole project will be more successful. A great way to illustrate how wood moves is to take a piece of paper and fold it like a fan. When wrapped into a circle, the fan folds create tension similar to what you actually find in a tree. Again, as a log dries, it doesn't shrink into a perfect miniature version of itself. As I said, wood shrinks tangentially or along the rings at twice the rate as radial movement across the rings. So the circumference of the log will shrink a lot faster than the log's thickness. And these tangential stresses are very much like the tension created by the fan folds in the paper circle. Now let's add some boards as they might be living inside the log. On the top, we have your typical flat sawn boards. On the bottom, we have a square timber. And on the right, we have the more desirable and also more expensive quarter sawn pieces that run radially from the pith. Now let's release the tension and see how drawing affects them. The flat sawn parts cup away from the center of the log. The square timber distorts in shape, and the quarter sawn boards experience very minimal changes as they dry. It's all very predictable. So what are the lessons in this video? First, avoid the unstable centermost rings and pith, even if you have to cut that out. And second, Even if you aren't using the pith area, you still should pay attention to the direction of your growth rings so you can predict how your board may move as the moisture in the air changes. These are some fundamental lessons that new woodworkers rarely learn, but they can really make you a better woodworker. Now here's something else that may help. 3M says their Cubitron 2 sandpaper is a revolutionary advancement in abrasive technology. What makes Cubitron paper different is the grit is made up of ceramic pyramids, which slice the fibers of the wood rather than plowing troughs through them like the grain of the tiny rocks that are found on other sandpaper. The result is an abrasive that works faster and stays cooler, so it lasts longer, significantly longer, like 5 or 6 times longer than the cheap stuff, and about twice as long as even other premium sandpapers. 3M Cubitron 2 destroyed Mirka, Klingspor, all the brands that are generally considered to be really good stuff. The Cubitron genuinely lasts a lot longer. I assume it must keep it cooler, perhaps it optimizes the way it cuts. I honestly don't understand how it works. It just works better than any other sandpaper I've used. All I can say is try it. Just 1 pack. You'll see what I mean. And if you do, please use the link below this video, which is to a small family business, and that business is well worth supporting.